Hey y'all, Rob here with ATX Legal, and last video I talked a little bit about red flags when finding an attorney. Today we're going to turn the tables a little bit and talk about red flags when it comes to clients. And the purpose of the video is not to dunk on anybody. I just want to give you an idea of what we're hearing when you call an attorney for the first time and some of the things that we might turn down a client for if we hear certain red flags. First one I'm going to talk about is the sovereign citizen. Now this doesn't apply to a lot of people, but if you watch the show Better Call Saul, there's a character in there that comes to Saul as a sovereign citizen. Now what that means is he doesn't acknowledge the jurisdiction of the state, of the country. He's his own person. Taxation is theft. He doesn't involve himself with the court system. Now, among attorneys, the sovereign citizen is a bit of a meme. We've all fielded calls from a sovereign citizen, someone who says, look, I don't submit to the jurisdiction of the state. Well, as attorneys, when we went to law school, we sort of implicitly submitted to the Constitution. We implicitly bought into this whole legal system. So for you to come to an attorney who is specifically bought into the legal system and say, look, it doesn't apply to me, you're kind of barking up the wrong tree there. And I'm not unsympathetic to the cause. You know, government overreach is a real thing. People's rights are abused by the government, but you're really better off talking to revolutionists or militias than an attorney who has already said, look, I buy into this system. This is my life. I'm handling problems within this system. The other thing to think about is, in my practice, I'm very pragmatic, so I think about how can I help the problem. If I go to a judge and say, look, the jurisdiction doesn't apply, this is a sovereign citizen, the judge is not going to look kindly on that. They're not going to help you with your problem. You're actually going to be in a worse situation than when you went in. So for those reasons, most attorneys, if they hear that buzzword sovereign citizen, they think of an attorney that they don't like very much and they refer them to that person. And number two, I just want to talk about listening skills, as in you need to have a little bit. We get calls all the time at ATX Legal from people who are asking for an attorney that in an area of practice that we don't handle. Maybe it's employment law, family law, something like that. And that's okay. People are looking for an attorney. They found us, they called us. I try to leave people in a better position than when they found us. So if we don't handle a particular area of law, I try to get them to somebody who can help them or get them to some resources where they can solve their problem. I literally can't help them with their problem because some people don't understand that lawyers don't usually handle all areas of practice except in very rural areas. Most lawyers specialize in one or two areas of practice. I'm no different. And I literally can't help you with an employment problem. Rather than hear that, some people talk over me, sort of demanding that I listen to them and demanding that I solve their problem, but I really can't. So if they could exercise better listening skills, they might hear the resources that I'm directing them to, or at least they might hear that, look, this is not a problem I could handle, and they could go use their time better. And number three is just a lack of mutual respect. So, and what I mean by that is, you know, I'll set up a free consultation, we'll set up a meeting, and I try to accommodate people, whether that's by Zoom, by phone. If you want to meet in person, we can set that up too. But whatever we meet, we schedule it at a certain time. And I do expect you to be there at that time because I do have commitments throughout my day. Even though it's a free consultation, it is a service that I'm offering. I do expect there to be some level of respect there to make that meeting, or if life does happen, communicate that to me that you're not going to be able to make that meeting well ahead of time. If you miss a meeting or two, I'm not likely to take on your case because that sets a bad tone for the rest of the attorney-client relationship. And lastly, and this goes hand in hand with the last one, but you've got to respect the support staff. My support staff, they're not subordinates, they're colleagues. Several years ago, I took on a client who, he had been rude to me a little bit, but it wasn't anything I couldn't handle. I've dealt with rude people before, but then the next day he called and berated my support staff for 10 minutes. I'm not going to put them through that. Fortunately, it was very early on in the representation. I was able to return the full fee, and he was able to find representation elsewhere, I assume, and nothing was irreparably harmed. Anyway, I hope this gives you some insight into what your attorney is thinking when you're calling them or you're requesting some legal advice. Remember, attorneys are people too. Surprisingly, it is true. We do have feelings. We do have emotions. So talk to us like people, and I think that the outcomes will be good. Of course, this is not legal advice, but if you do want legal advice on your case, or if you want to set up a consultation, or if you need resources for really any kind of legal problem, give us a call or visit us at atx.legal.